I've talked a lot about the fact that the larger the light source, the softer the shadows. There's no question about that. The softbox 3 here is going to be considerably softer than our pocket bouncer, and the pocket bouncer is going to be considerably softer than the flash itself. And neither one of these is going to be as soft as a large studio umbrella or softbox. So that's very important that the larger the light source, the softer the shadows. But what's equally important is that the closer the light source is to the subject, the softer the shadows. In other words, if you take a huge light source, whether it's the softbox 3 or a large umbrella or softbox, and move it far enough away from the subject, it becomes a point source of light. For instance, the sun is a huge light source, but because it's 93 million miles away, it becomes a point source of light and creates very harsh shadows. Another thing that's very important is that if you have a subject, say, this stapler or something like this, that's a certain distance from the light source, then things in the foreground, say half the distance to the light, if this was properly exposed, this would be overexposed. And something that's twice as far away would be underexposed. There's no getting around that. Spreading the light out or making it larger or modifying in any way does not affect this formula. And it's particularly a particular problem for doing flash photography because the light source is so close to the subject. The problem with the sun being very, very far away is a problem with regard to being a harsh light source. But because the sun is 93 million miles away, 93 million miles and 3 inches doesn't make any difference. 93 million miles and another 6 inches doesn't make any difference. So the exposure of these three things, if the sun was illuminating them, would basically be identical. So that's another factor that you have to consider when you're doing flash photography.